Okay, so today we're looking at square roots, or not really square roots, just roots in general. So rational exponents. It all breaks down to this one rule, and let's rewrite it so it looks more handwritten. So if you have some number raised to a fractional power, we can always rewrite that as a square root of the denominator root of x to the numerator power. Okay, so all it is, you're not changing the value, you're just rewriting it. And this comes down to whether or not you want to deal with fractional exponents or a radical. Neither of which is ideal, but you got to pick one or the other sometimes. So or n, the nth root of x to the m power. Okay. So it's not really that difficult. We're just taking two numbers and we're just rearranging them. But you have to be careful because since it's so simple, it's easy to get the two switched around, especially since we're not too familiar with this. Like, what's 7 to the 2/5 power? I have no idea. It's probably some ridiculously bad number, but that's where we're working. Okay, so we have x m to the n, so we can say m equals 2, n equals 5, right? Going back to our original form. So I want to put this as a radical. So I know I want n as my root, and that's a 5. So I'm going to put 5 to the left. I'm going to keep this base, won't change. Whatever that base is, you leave it alone. That's what it's going to look like in the answer. Don't mess with it. Okay? And then two ways we could write this. We could either put the 2 here for m, or we could write it with parentheses. So you say the 5th root of 7 raised to the 2nd power. Okay. This way works a lot better, this top one, if you only have one thing as your base. Like we just have 7 here, so I can say 7 squared, no problem. Right, but when we look at the next one, it's 5p to the 4/3 power. So I would definitely recommend, so m would be 4, n would be 3. So this is going to be the 3rd root, or the cube root of 5p raised to the 4th power. And I would write it this way, okay? Because if we do it without the parentheses, you would have to write cube root, and this would actually look like 5 to the 4th times p to the 4th power, because you have to take the 4th power of everything in the base. So if you don't want to have to write it multiple times, just use parentheses, right? And I would rather write one set of parentheses and have to remember how many times I have to write down the correct power. So I would go with this one here. Okay. All right, a couple more. So this one, it gives us a square root. We want to change it back to a fraction. So we would say this is going to be a to the number on the outside. That's always going to be n. That's our denominator. So it's going to be something over 6. And the only number left is 7. So the 6th root of a to the 7th power is just a to the 7 over 6. Again, that's not super helpful. Yet, later on, like if you have more than one term, you could do math with it because we have rules for just a number raised to a power. Okay, so for today, we're just practicing just rewriting really ugly numbers. Okay, so this one here, so our base is 3b. So we need to make sure that we put 3b and then put it in parentheses. Because if you don't put parentheses, whatever our power is would just be for b, but we want all of 3b to be to that power. So 3 is on the outside, that's our exponent, so that becomes our numerator. 5 is our root, so that becomes our denominator. So the 5th root of 3b cubed is 3b to the 3/5 power. Okay, I know it looks kind of weird, because it is kind of weird. Just don't forget, it's just one rule. They wrote down twice because that's how important it is. If you have that one rule and you remember to use it correctly, you'll do just fine. All right, so try them out. Hopefully things go well for you. All right, bye.